Hello everyone, myself Vinay Kumaram. I am pursuing PhD in physics. So in this particular YouTube channel, I'll be teaching physics, chemistry, and mathematics starting from 8th standard till 12th standard. So if you want to learn physics, chemistry, and mathematics, then you have to subscribe to my channel. So till now, I was teaching the second chapter of 9th standard mathematics. From this video onwards, we'll try to look into the third chapter of 9th standard mathematics, that is on coordinate geometry. In previous classes we have discussed about number lines. In previous chapters, in previous videos, I have discussed about number lines. So on a particular number line, you know how to locate a particular point. So for example, if I have a number line like this, so the center point of this number line will be 0. Starting from 0, there will be 1, 2, 3, and it goes on infinitely. So to our left hand side, we have negative numbers, that is -1, -2, -3, and it goes on like this. So up to minus infinity, and here it goes up to plus infinity. So now if I want to locate 1.5 on this number line, you know exactly the midpoint between 1 and 2 will give you the value 1.5. And also we have learned how to locate root 2 on number line, and also we know how to locate root 3, root 5, root 4. All those things we know how to locate on number line. So now if I increase one more information into this number line, for example, I'll take one particular case. So in that case, just locating a point on number line is enough, or you want much more deeper information to understand the location of a particular point. So here number line acts in only one single dimension. So this is the only dimension in which number line operates, and only in this single dimension you can locate a point. So now I'll give one example. Let's say there is a particular line like this. Let's say one number line is like this, and it runs from west to east. So let's call this number line as main road. So now let's call this number line as main road, and this main road runs from west to east. Now for this main road, we have so many crossroads. So there will be one particular street like this. Let's call this as street 1. And there will be one more street like this. Let's call this as street 2. And there will be one more road like this, which let's call this as street 3. And there will be street 4. And there will be street 5. And also there will be street 6. So like this, 6 crossroads will be attached to this main road. So now here in these streets, in every streets there are different houses located. For example, here there will be house number 1, here there will be house number 2, here there will be house number 3, here there will be house number 4. And also in street 2 you'll have house number 1, 2, 3, 4. And also here you will have house number 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And also in street 4 you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And even in street 5 you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And even in street 6 you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means in each crossroads you have 4 different houses, and you have 6 crossroads, and you have one common main road for all 6 crossroads. Now if you want to meet your friend in street 3, house number 2, so if you want to meet your friend in house number 2, street 3, then how will you locate on a single number line? You cannot locate, because number line, let's say this main road itself is the number line. So now here you have different positions on number line. This, let's call this as first position, this as second position, this as third, this as fourth. Let's call this position as fifth, and this position as sixth. So now you can locate street 3. So now we want to meet a particular friend. So now we want to meet a friend who lives in street 3, house number 2. So now you have to find the street 3, and you can find street 3 on this number line. So now this main road itself we are calling as number line. So this main road we will call this as number line, and on this number line we have different positions, that is first position, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth position. Now you can locate street 3 on this particular number line, that is from west to east. So from west to east, whatever main road is running, that main road I am considering as number line. So on this number line you can locate this particular position, that is street 3. So now you have located street 3. Just locating street 3 will not give you the house of your friend, because your friend's house is house number 2 in street 3. So now you want to explore other information, that is you have to move out of this single dimension into the second dimension, that is this particular dimension. So now we know this dimension you can walk around. So this is the main road on which you can walk around like this, to and fro. Now I'm increasing the information, I'm going deeper into the information, and I'm giving you one more information, that is the next dimension where you can go like this as well. So that means you have two different dimensions now. One is this dimension and one is this dimension. So based on this information, first you will locate the position of street 3 on the main road, and in street 3 you will travel in this particular direction, and you will locate the house number 2 over here. So this is the exact point where your friend lives. So this is your friend position. So that means here just having an idea about one dimension is not enough. If you just have idea about one dimension, then you will be just walking around in that particular main road itself, and you will locate street number 3. But you will be never able to locate house number 2 inside street 3. So for that you have to move out of that one dimension and enter to the second dimension. So in that second dimension you have leverage to travel across this. So you have leverage to travel across this. In one dimension you have leverage across to travel this. So that means this entire plane you can go around wherever you want. So now in this entire plane you can travel, because now you have two dimensions, that is one single dimension, that was number line, and now you can travel through second dimension. We will not worry about third dimension in this particular chapter, but I'll give one idea about third dimension also. Let's say in house number 2, if your friend is living on third floor. For example, if your friend is living on third floor in house number 2. So how to identify this? Now you have identified street 3 in one dimension. Now you have explored the second dimension and you have walked along street 3 and you have identified house number 2. That is somewhere here. And this house is not just a two-dimension house. It is multi-store building. And in that multi-store building, you have different floors and your friend is living on third floor. So that means you have to travel through the third dimension to reach that third floor. So that means this was main road and this was the crossroad, and on that crossroad you are going on this direction. For example, if this is the plane, so here I have main road and here I have crossroads. So on this main road I have identified the crossroad, and on this crossroad I am going like this to meet the house number 2, and in this house number 2 the building is like this. So now I am traveling to the third floor like this. So that means if I am starting from west, I am coming towards east like this. This is one dimension, and then I am going towards north, that is on street 3 I am traveling. So from west I have started and I have traveled up to street 3, and in street 3 I have traveled across the second allowed dimension, and on that second dimension I have got my house, my friend's house, that is house number 2, and that house I'm traveling like this in the lift or through stairs to reach the third floor. So one dimension, two dimension, and this is three dimension. So that means three different axes you're getting. So we'll see what you mean by axis and all. So now, as of now, don't worry about third dimension. Let's only focus on the two dimensional things as of now. So now you have identified the friend's house. To understand this much more better, let us take one more example. So let's say there is a piece of paper like this. So let us take one A4 sheet like this, and I'll put one dot on this A4 sheet at this particular position. So now if I ask you to tell the position of this particular dot on this A4 sheet, what references you will use? You want some reference point, some reference axis to locate this particular point. So what is that? So then what you might say is that the dot is on the upper left hand side. So the dot is in the upper side of the paper and it is towards the left hand side on the paper. So that is this particular column. Now if I divide this paper into four different parts like this, so this dot comes somewhere in the upper part of the paper and it comes on the left hand side. So now we have left hand side and upper part of this paper, but we don't know the exact position of this particular dot. So then what you will do is that you will consider the plane, you'll consider the edge of this particular sheet. So this particular edge you can call as left edge, and this particular edge of the paper you can call as bottom edge of the paper. Now you have defined the edges of this paper. Now you can locate the position of this particular point. How will you locate? You will tell this particular point is somewhere 25 centimeter from the bottom edge and it is 5 centimeter from the left edge. So that means here these two things you have to mention. From left it is 5 centimeter, that is from left edge of the paper it is 5 centimeter away, and from the bottom edge of the paper it is 25 centimeter away. So that means two informations you have to give in order to locate the position of this particular point, and those two information are from the left edge of the paper and from the bottom edge of the paper. So this is how you have to locate a particular point, and in order to locate the point you want a reference axis. And here we are considering this left edge of the A4 sheet as one reference axis and this particular bottom edge of the paper as another reference axis, and in mathematical terms we call this as x-axis and we call this as y-axis. That's it. So in order to locate a particular point on a two-dimensional plane, you want two information, that is one is x-axis information and the other is y-axis information. That is how far this particular point is there from x-axis and how far this particular point is there from y-axis. Similarly, in three dimension also it works. So as of now we will not worry about three dimension where z-axis will come into the picture, and that z-axis will be perpendicular to both x and y-axis, and that happens when you draw a perpendicular line from this particular point. That is, it will come outside the plane. So you can imagine the room, and corner of the room, the one axis will be x-axis and the other axis will be y-axis and the third axis will be z-axis. It's as simple as that. So that means here don't worry about three dimension. First we will try to understand the two-dimensional systems. So now if you take this piece of paper, plain paper, A4 sheet, then the left edge you can consider as y-axis and the bottom edge you can consider as x-axis, and wherever you locate the point, that will be so much centimeter distance from the bottom edge and so much centimeter distance from the left edge of that particular paper, and exactly you will be able to locate the point. So that means here two different edges or two different informations are essential in order to locate the exact position of this point on a two-dimensional plane. Similarly, if you want to locate a particular position in three-dimensional space, then you want three different information corresponding to three different axes. Here, since we are dealing with two-dimensional surface, that is A4 sheet, here I am locating the position of this point on A4 sheet. So I only have to find out two different informations with respect to x-axis and with respect to y-axis. When I find those two informations, I can exactly locate the position of this particular point. To make it much more simpler, we can take one more example. If there is a big classroom like this and there are different tables for students in this classroom, let's say this is 1 2 3 4, and also like this 1 2 3 4, and also there will be one more row, that is 1 2 3 4, and let's say there is one more row, 1 2 3 4. So these are known as rows. So these are known as rows and these are known as columns. These are known as columns. Now, if a particular student is sitting in this particular position, now how to locate the position of this student? So now, if you name this as first row, second row, third and fourth row, and if you locate these columns as 1, 2, 3, 4, then let's say a student is sitting, so I'll put yes here. So a student is sitting in this particular position. So to identify the position of this student, which row he is sitting and which column he is sitting, you have to locate. Now if you only have one information, that is student is sitting in second row, then you will not be able to find the exact position of this particular student, because this entire four places are second row, because this position is also second row, this position is also second row, this position is also second row, and this position is also second row. So if I have only this particular information, then you cannot identify the exact position. For that, I have to have the information of columns as well. So which column he is sitting? He is sitting in the second column. So that means this is also second column, this is also second column, this is also second column, and this is also second column. But together, if I am telling second row, second column, together if I am saying second row and second column, this is the only position which is second row, second column, because that is the only position which is in the second row, and that is the only position which is in the second column as well at the same time when it is second row. So that means both this information should be there in order to locate the student's position in this particular classroom. So these are all the examples which I am giving you to make you understand how the first dimension and second dimension information will be helpful in locating a particular position on a two-dimensional surface. Don't worry about three dimension as of now. So now you know how to locate a particular position on a two-dimensional surface. So if you want to find a particular position on two-dimensional surface, then you want two different information with respect to two different axes. That is, here in this case, rows can be known as y-axis and columns can be known as x-axis. So in the previous case, bottom edge of the A4 sheet can be known as x-axis and left edge of the paper can be known as y-axis. That means if you want to locate any position on a particular two-dimensional surface, then you want two different information with respect to two different axes. So this is how we end up in creating axes, and these axes are known as Cartesian systems. So now we are going into the new concept in this particular chapter, that is Cartesian system. So that means in Cartesian system, so we have a particular number line. So in order to understand Cartesian system, we will go back to number lines. So in a particular number line, the exact middle of this particular number you have 0, and then on the right hand side you have 1, 2, 3, and it goes up to infinity. And on the left hand side of this number line you have -1, -2, -3, and this also goes to up to minus infinity. From this exact 0th position, I'll draw one more axis like this. So I'll draw exactly one more axis on this 0, which is exactly perpendicular to the number line. That means I'm taking exact one more line and placing vertically on this particular horizontal number line. So this is horizontal number line. Now I am placing vertical number line on this horizontal number line in such a way that upper part of this number line will be +1, +2, +3, and it goes on up to infinity. And lower part of this 0. So, and the lower part of this vertical line from 0, it will be -1, -2, -3, and it goes up to minus infinity. So that means here I have two different number lines which are kept horizontally and vertically in such a way that both of their origins meet together, and these two number lines are perpendicular to each other. And when we have this number line, wherever the point is there on a particular two-dimensional surface, you can exactly locate the position of that particular point. So for example, if I have a particular point somewhere over here, if I have a particular point somewhere over here in this entire plane, so this entire PPT, if you consider as one single plane, then you can define these two axes. That is, this horizontal line you can call as x-axis. So here how I defined for the A4 sheet, where the left edge of the A4 sheet will be the y-axis and the bottom edge of the A4 sheet will be x-axis, and the corner of that A4 sheet will be the origin. From that origin you can draw the negative part of that number line, and from that 0th position you can draw the negative part of that bottom edge, and you can draw the negative part of that left edge, and you will get this axis. That is this vertical number line and horizontal number line. And this horizontal number line is known as x-axis, and this vertical number line can be known as y-axis. So that means here we have a particular Cartesian system which has two different number lines where their origins are meeting with each other, and these two number lines are perpendicular to each other, and these two number lines togetherly forming x-axis and y-axis. That means these two number lines are giving information about the position of a particular point on a plane, on a two-dimensional plane, because here we have defined two axes. So on these two axes we have one as x-axis and one as y-axis, and using these two axes we can exactly locate the position of a particular point on a two-dimensional surface. So if I have a point like this, now you can draw a perpendicular line towards x-axis and one perpendicular line towards y-axis. So somewhere around -3 on y-axis it is meeting, and somewhere around +2 on x-axis it is meeting. The perpendicular line is meeting. So now to locate the position of this particular point, let's say this point as P, we have to use open brackets like this, and in this open brackets the first number what you will be writing is the x-axis number, and the second number what you will be writing is the y-axis number. And outside you should name the point, and we have named this point as P. So P of 2, -3 is the position of this particular point. This +2 indicates the point on x-axis where the perpendicular line is meeting from that particular point, and this -3 is the point on y-axis where the perpendicular line is meeting from that particular point. If I give this particular information, you should be able to locate the position of that particular point. So how to do that? So let me draw this Cartesian system one more time. Now we have the Cartesian system and you have to locate a particular point. Let's name this point as D. So this D point is somewhere around -2 comma +3. So now this particular point D is around -2 comma +3 position. So if I give this particular information to you, you should be able to locate the position of this D in this Cartesian system. How to do that? So here you have two information, that is, this is a plane, two-dimensional plane. So on two-dimensional plane, if you want to locate the position of a particular point, you want two information, and I have given those two information, one with respect to x-axis and one with respect to y-axis. So that is -2 and 3. Now locate -2 on x-axis. So this is x-axis and this is y-axis. So where is -2? -2 is there at this particular position. Where is +3? Because here on y, the information which I am giving with respect to y-axis is +3. So that means +3 you have to locate somewhere around here. So that means -2 I have located on x-axis, +3 I have located on y-axis, because this first number is with respect to x-axis and the second number is with respect to y-axis. So on y-axis I have 3 and on x-axis I have -2. Now you have to draw perpendicular line from this -2 and +3. So when you draw perpendicular line from -2 like this, and when you draw perpendicular line from +3 on y-axis like this, somewhere around here you will get the intersection of these two lines, and this is the point D. So this is how you should locate a particular point on Cartesian system. Especially we are focusing on two-dimensional plane. So on a two-dimensional Cartesian system, if you want to locate a particular position of a particular point, then if you have this information with respect to x and y axis, then using this technique you can locate the exact position of that particular point. So the whole point is, if a particular point is there anywhere on a particular two-dimensional surface, you can straight away put a particular Cartesian system. You can put randomly this particular origin and you can start locating the position of a particular point with respect to that origin. And if you want to locate different points, let's say if you want to locate A, if you want to locate B, if you want to locate C, and if you want to locate D, for all this A, B, C, D, you have to put one common Cartesian system and you have to locate at which position A is there, at which position B is there, at which position C is there. Exactly how you are locating a particular number on a particular number line. Similarly, now you have to locate that number on the another number line which is perpendicular to the first number line. So here x-axis is one number line, y-axis is another number line. Now -2 you are locating on x-axis and +3 you are locating on y-axis, and you are drawing perpendicular lines from those two positions, and wherever those two perpendicular lines are meeting, that will be the position of that particular point. Here in this case it is D. So there you get the position of this particular point D. This is how you have to locate a particular point in two-dimensional Cartesian system. So here in this Cartesian system, if you want to find the position of A, draw perpendicular line to y-axis and also perpendicular line to x-axis, and also from B you can draw perpendicular line to x and y-axis, and also from C you can draw perpendicular line to y-axis and x-axis, and whatever points you get on this x and y-axis for those respective points, those points you can just name it like this. So now I have taken one example, that is D of -2, 3. That is nothing but this particular point. When you draw perpendicular line from this point onto y-axis, it will be around +3. And if I draw perpendicular line from this D towards x-axis, then the point will be on -2 on x-axis. So -2, 3 is the position of this particular D on this Cartesian system. So these all the topics which were there in this particular coordinate geometry I have covered in this particular video. And if you have not understood this properly, then you can watch this video multiple times in order to understand this two-dimensional Cartesian system and also to have an idea about coordinate geometry. So now what is remaining in this particular chapter is I have to explain few examples which are there in this chapter, and I have to explain exercise 3.1 and 3.2 in this particular chapter. So those examples and exercise questions I will be explaining in my next videos. Until then, if you want to learn more physics, chemistry and mathematics starting from 8th standard till 12th standard, then you have to subscribe to my channel. Please do subscribe to my channel and stay tuned with my channel. Thank you.